Midweek News, episode 86, recorded live July 24th, 2024. Microsoft points the finger at the EU for not being able to lock down Windows. So I mentioned this earlier. Microsoft is claiming that because the EU wanted to, quote, level the playing field, it had to share APIs previously kept secret from those outside of Microsoft. The idea here is that this is part of the reason for the Crowdstrike issues this past Friday. So we've got the 6 free open source OCR screen capture tool. Interesting list. I've only heard of a couple of these before. NormCap looks like their best one on here. Scores the best at 8.2. Linux, Mac OS, both Intel and M series, and Windows. The number 2 spot is G Image Reader, Linux and Windows. TextShot comes up for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. DP Screen OCR for Linux and Windows. Frog is a Linux-only utility. And Text Snatcher appears to be Linux only, but it has not had updates in 2 years. Why they didn't notice this little glitch in compiling their recommendations, I do not know. Now you know about them and you can take a look for yourself. Yeah, is Twisted Metal meets Vampire Survivors. You can view the gameplay trailer now, and the demo should be out in September with early access to the game available in October. You will need Proton enabled on your Linux system in order to play this. I will not play the video, but from watching the video before, it looks kind of cool. So we'll see how that turns out. Acronis True Image is back. Love it or hate it, Acronis has changed the software back to its original True Image name. Allegedly, this software supports both Windows and macOS, although they make no mention of Apple Silicon in the article. So that is a to-be-determined issue on this. This is a utility not for the faint of heart. The download is 1.04 gigabytes. They do offer a 30-day free trial, and I may just have to put it head-to-head with RescueZilla and CloneZilla just to see which one comes out on top, at least for my use case. This honestly might be worth the yearly fee if you could do an image backup of an M series, which I'm not even sure that's entirely possible anymore. VirtualBox 7.0.20 adds initial support for kernels in OpenSUSE Leap 15.6 and Red Hat Enterprise Linux 9.5. Improves the shared clipboard when copying text between Windows and X11-based Linux system. There are several bug fixes and minor features as well. Available for Linux, macOS on Intel, Windows, and Solaris. The Nano Editor has released version 8.1. The main new feature is the colon parsing option, which allows you to jump directly to a specific line in the file. You would use nano file name colon line number, and it will jump you to a specific line in the file. You will want to check out the release notes for more information, and you can expect this to be available, I would assume, in many of the mainstream Linux distributions in the fall. Support. You can look through the article or the website for complete release notes, and it's available for Linux, macOS, and Windows. Absolutely free. And here's an article talking about how Linux is free, but the author still pays for Linux PCs. So it would be great if these Linux PCs were in more stores or weren't hidden on major manufacturer websites. In my eyes, if you have the budget and don't really want to build your own PC, buying a Linux machine is a great way to go. You'll still get a more expandable machine for cheaper than what you could get something at Apple. All right, Thunderbird 128 is now available with the Nebula UI. This release continues the UI overhaul that started with Thunderbird 102. There are, of course, other changes, but the UI is front and center. Now available for Linux, macOS Catalina or newer, and Windows 10 and newer. Nvidia 560 Linux driver to fully adopt open source GPU kernel modules. Not all Nvidia GPUs are compatible with the open source GPU kernel modules, but they are known to work with Turing, Ampere, Ada Lovelace, and Hopper architectures. At least progress is being made. iFixit has released a Steam Deck Toolkit. Enough tools are included to get into the Steam Deck and do some basic cleaning and perform upgrades. This new kit comes in at $12.95 and is already out of stock in several regions. And last but not least, we've got yet another article covering that Crowdstrike has its roots in Microsoft's antitrust problems. So Microsoft was forced by the European Commission in 2009 to open up Windows to third-party security companies, giving them the same level of access that Microsoft gets. Crowdstrike is among those companies that benefited from this deeper level of access to Windows. The article and the comment section are an interesting read for anybody not already sick of hearing about Crowdstrike, which at this point I am, and sick of talking about it. And that is going to wrap up the recording of Midweek News.